You know how it is, sa.neter Studios, come on. sa.neter Studios. sa.neter Studios. Look, open your third eye and download this. sa.neter Studios on, now we gotta get it. On the couch, alive on 125th, but we worldwide. Entertainment with scholarship, black power conglomerate. That's how we pay homage and show love to the ancestors. Original man blessed it, so you can't test it. It's more than hood politics. sa.neter Studios will help you wake up your mind again. Know you got time to spend, been watching BS, so tune in to the best. Hardest working, don't need rest. Just trying to be next, push the revolution, push this information, help you with the solutions. The new millennium's Gil Noble is still rolling, and won't stop until the pineal glands are frozen. And know that this ain't his story, it's ours, but they'll know it when they hear peace and black power. sa.neter Studios. sa.neter Studios. sa.neter Studios. sa.neter Studios.
All right, peace and black power, everybody that's out there. You know what this is. If you don't know, this is sa.neter Studios, the HOK, and we are still in the building. We still doing our thing. We live in the street, and I'm here with one of our grandmaster teachers who is still here amongst us, and I'm trying to get every drop of knowledge I can while we still here. And I'm gonna say peace and blessings to you, brother Mfundishi.
Peace and harmony. Uncle Johnson Neb. You are.
Uncle Johnson Neb. I hear everybody saying that. What does that mean?
Ankh is I give you life. Sana, I give you health. Neb, I give you all life and all health. So a lot of times people just say Uncle Johnson Neb. So prosperity, life, and health. But I always add the Neb, and you'll hear my students add Neb at the end. Because when you put Neb at the end, I multiply it. I say I give you all life, all prosperity, all health.
Beautiful, Uncle Johnson Neb. Right, beautiful. Talk to me about Kemet. What is the most thing that is misunderstood about ancient Kemet?
The most thing, people try to put Kemet into a small box. And Kemet is a consciousness, a higher consciousness. It's one of the only spiritual systems that connects us to the nature, saying that we are created. We're not praying to a creator outside of us, that the divine consciousness is within us. And so Kemet is what people call ancient Egypt today. There's no ancient Egypt. Egypt is a Greek name.
Correct.
It was ancient Kemet. And I always try to put Kemet and Kush together, because that was people call Nubia, which is like Sudan, Ethiopia. That's the parents of ancient Kemet. So we know that after the last great flood, when it was like a reset, almost all of civilization was destroyed. The Angus Dryas system, you know, so it might have been a meteorite, but we know a great flood happened, and probably 95% of the whole world's population was destroyed. And Kemet, ancient Kush, and then Kemet is the first great civilization to emerge.
When you say ancient Kush, what is that also known as?
Kush.
Kush.
Right. Kush is the European bastardization of our stuff.
Correct.
If you read the sa.neter, it's K-A-S-H, which is Kush. Europeans said Kush, so now we say Kush.
Right.
You know, but that's why I teach the sa.neter, so that we don't have to take nobody's word for it. My brother, we can read, you see me, we read the glyphs right off the wall. They called their country Kush. And the Kushites moved all across Southern Asia, all the way to Japan and China.
How long have you been a practitioner of ancient Kemet?
Okay, I've been studying ancient Kemet. I started out as an Africologist. I was just studying all of Africa. I specifically went to ancient Kemet in 1974. That's when I met Dr. Ben. And Dr. Ben said that you gotta focus on the Happy Valley, the Nile Valley, ancient Egypt. And then later, Diop said that if we don't connect ancient Kemet to our history, then we're cowards. That's what Diop said, we're cowards. And I became a research historian, not just taking what other people say, but now learning. Sister Rikedi Aman was my teacher in the Kemetic Institute, was my teacher in the Mfundishi. And so I took like 6-7 years of that before I even started teaching myself. I wanted to make sure I had my program together before I started. So Dr. Ben is the one that got me focused on ancient Kemet. I was teaching at Nieti Educational Institute, a private black institution in New Brunswick, New Jersey, founded by Brother Charles Gray, who was ambassador from Tanzania. And our staff, brother, we had Professor Kasahun, who was the director of Red Sea Press and African World Press. We had Dr. Professor Simmons would come in. Right. We had faculty that rivaled any African studies in the university.
What was so fascinating about ancient Kemet that made you say, you know what? I'm gonna just focus on this right now and study this. What was it that captivated you?
Yes, because all the roads were leading back to ancient Kemet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so my father, they were from Tanzania. The Kemetic priests who wore locks in Tanzania said they come from the Happy Valley. You went into Kenya, Happy Valley. The Maasai even say they come from the Happy Valley. Everything was leading, all the roads was leading to Kemet. So I said, well, why study all of these offshoots when I can go straight to the source?
Right.
And then I just didn't want to take Europeans' word. Why would I take Europeans' word for it? Okay? Everything they gave us was bad. They gave us bad food. They gave us took away our clothes, took away our name, took away our culture. So why would they give us the facts about our history? So that's why I learned in Mfundishi so that I can and also in 1974 when I met Dr. Ben, he just came out with the book, The Black Man and the Nile and His Family. That book came out in 1974. So I was right there. I got my book autographed. And then later I became an assistant to Dr. Ben and traveled to Egypt over 6 times with Dr. Ben.
Now, before you came into the knowledge of ancient Kemet, I already know you knew about Christianity,
yes,
Judaism, Islam. When you went to ancient Kemet, did it blow your mind when you seen how all of these religions came right up out of Kemet and most likely plagiarized all of it?
Yes.
You know?
It did, because that's what Dr. Ben kind of broke that down. So that was good. Yes, I was never attracted to Islam. I remember a lot of people was changing their names to Arabic names. I remember my father saying, well, you're just changing one European name for another one.
For Arab.
Yeah, for Arab.
Slave
so
name.
one enslaved name to another one.
Right.
So what, you Muhammad so-and-so versus John or Paul, you know. So that's why I kept my name Hassan Kamal Salim.
Oh, man. Beautiful, brother. Let's talk about Palestine for a minute. Have you been keeping up with the war between Israel and Palestine? And if so, do you see yourself as sympathizing with Palestine or Israel?
Well, all right, first of all, Israel is a criminal nation. So I just need to make that statement. Israel is a criminal nation, and they try to get sympathy, these European Jews try to get sympathy from the rest of the world of what Hitler did to them, and now they're creating the same atrocities to everybody else. Woo! So I just need people to know that. So they got reparations, and the 6 million Jews, there was no 6 million Jews in the Holocaust. That was an inflated number. There's a Jewish Holocaust museum here in New York. And it's funded over $1 million every year. The Holocaust wasn't here. It was in Germany. African people were enslaved here, and we haven't got no reparations yet. Wow. Okay, so I just need to make that, but America is like the big brother of Israel in Palestine. So that war machinery, Israel has the most powerful military in that whole section, but that's an American military. Those planes, those missiles, those bombs, that's all coming from the United States of America. And the United States is in bed with them. So I just need you to know, they wouldn't be as powerful as they were if it was not for the United States. Trump, the whole Republican Party, all of them are in cahoots with what Israel is doing. Of 20 of the most powerful persons in America that deal with diplomacy, more than 12 of them are Hebrews or European Jews. And so anything the Jews want can get passed by Congress or the House of Representatives, and the common people can't do nothing about it. Even though Jews is about 2% of the population, they control the economic machine here in America. So I need people to know that. When we bombed Iran,
you said when they bombed.
When they bombed, yes.
Right.
When America bombed. America, thank you for that correction.
Right.
When America bombed Iran, it was supposed to be for what? Nuclear weapons.
Right, correct.
Do you remember they did that same thing with Hassan Hussein and all of them when they...
Muammar Gaddafi.
Right, nukes was never found.
Never found.
You know, that gives them a blank check to go, and then who gives
but
America the right?
Donald Trump just tried to bomb. I mean, not tried, but he did bomb them.
Yeah.
Talking about he going for the nuclear weapons.
Yes.
Never found.
Never found. So all of this is about control. But let me say something though. Minerals is in the bottom of this. They want the minerals is in Iran.
The oil.
The oil and the natural minerals that is there. Like you see on my tape, they want to control all of that. So that's a camouflage. And you notice they bring up a smoke screen, like we got the whole Epstein. Epstein died 5 years ago.
You think he died? Because they still thinking about it.
He's supposed to have died
5 years ago. You might be right. I don't know.
And now they just this is a smoke screen.
Right.
So we all worried about what Epstein did 5 years ago.
Right.
And they bombed and other people killing. And the Palestinians, first of all, the original people there were black people. So I need to say that. The Palestinians came in next. The Hebrews, Jews came in, then the Johnny come lately. They were given part, and guess what? Britain gave them that. How Britain going to give you somebody else's land?
Right.
So that's ridiculous right there. Okay, and then in America, in fact, when they moved their new headquarters, Trump was president from 2018, during that time. He was the first world diplomat to acknowledge Israel's new capital. You know, so I'm just showing you how America's in bed with Israel. Israel is an illegal criminal state committing genocide on the Palestinians and all those people in the, and they try to spread out because they want those natural resources.
Right. Now this supposed to be a religious movement, right, with the Jews. Did you see what they doing right now in Gaza and how them little babies are dying of starvation? Now they kind of understand what we went through when we was in slavery, when our ancestors was in slavery.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? And we had to eat the scraps from the master table. But have you seen that lately?
Yes, well, you know, that's what I said. It's an illegal state. It's atrocities. Everything that they were accused the Germans to do.
The famine that's going on.
They're doing it to other people now.
Yeah. All right.
And we all know these are not even the real Hebrews of the biblical time. So I just need to make that. Zionism is not even connected to Judaism.
Now
Zionism is a political movement to control people, land, and resources. It has nothing to do with Judaism.
Now you said something that's interesting. You said the Jews over there now are not the real Jews that was there in historical times.
No.
Now the Hebrews that you see today, would you put them in that class? Or you say no,
Well, let me say this here.
Yeah.
It's a religion. religion. Anybody can join a religion.
Correct.
The Hebrew isn't a race.
Right.
Christianity isn't a race. Buddhism isn't a race. Anybody, if tomorrow if we want to be Jews, we can all be Jews tomorrow.
Exactly.
If we want to be Christians tomorrow, we can all be Christians. We want to be Buddhists tomorrow, we can all be Buddhists. Now, so I just need to make that statement.
Right.
But the original Hebrews were African people.
Oh, dad.
So I need you to know that. And all the way up, all the records, all the way up to 1492 shows that. In 1492, when the Queen Elizabeth and them kicked out the blacks from Spain.
Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand.
Right. They said the Moors, the Jews, all gotta go. Because most of those Jews are black. So it's like, all you blacks, y'all gotta go. So, so I just need to they put them together in the same package.
Right.
Because at that time, almost all the Hebrews were black, still up until that time.
Okay, now you mentioned Epstein. Do you think those tapes will ever come out, or Donald Trump is doing everything in his power to keep them tapes hidden or burned? Because he's in all of them.
See, what happened, the Republican Party, this is reversing on them. They originally thought that they were going to expose the Democrats, for being with Epstein. But now they look in there, and Trump is like his best friend,
What's up, my brother?
So now this is reversing on the Republican Party, So they're like nose deep, nose deep into the crap.
I'm good.
So that's what's happening. So the whole Epstein thing is really destroying their whole movement. But like I say, it's a smokescreen. I don't even care what happens. We all know they're criminals. Right. In fact, America, you're not a criminal until you get caught. Breaking the law is irrelevant.
Right.
Because nobody's broken the law more than Trump.
Now, Hunter Biden, he came out he did an interview, and he talked about crack cocaine. He said crack cocaine is not worse than being an alcoholic.
No.
Did you know that? He said alcoholic is worse than crack cocaine.
And sugar is worse than both of them.
Right.
Sugar would be the #1 drug, and it's worse than cocaine and crack.
But what I'm trying to show you is that, remember years ago they found some cocaine in the White House.
Yeah.
And Biden was in there. His son was in there. So now he's talking about crack cocaine and how to cook it up. Did you see the interview?
No, I didn't see that.
He talked about, how you can cook it and it's easy to cook. And we was like, wow, look at this dude talking.
We know they're all criminals, man.
Yeah.
America is systemically racist. It was founded by criminals, and these guys are criminals. Look, George Washington had 100 and some slaves, and even when he died, he didn't free his slaves.
Right.
So, this whole country is...
Being in close proximity to Kemet, how do you think that war affects tourists or who travels to Kemet in the religion aspects?
Okay, right now, I've been to Egypt twice already this year. And it hasn't affected tourism at all.
Oh, wow.
In Egypt. In Egypt, you don't even know there's a war going on in the Middle East.
But they pushing them towards Egypt.
Huh?
They pushing the Palestinians towards the borderline of Egypt.
But look at, you come into Cairo, that's a long ways away. That would be like right now, coming into North Carolina from New York.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So it's America,
right,
but it's not affected.
Right. I got
Harlem don't know nothing about what happened, in North Carolina.
I see what you're
North
saying.
Carolina just had that flood, right?
Right.
Do we know anything? Did it affect us? No. So that's what's happening. Even though it's at the border of Egypt, tourism, let me just see here. Over 80% of the gross national product of Egypt is tourism. Brother, when you go to Egypt right now, you're the safest person in the world. You're safer than the Egyptians. They're going to protect you. There's a bus security follows us. The guys with AK-47s and stuff packed. They go every place we go. They travel. They make sure tourism is safe and that you're not going to get injured because they can't have no bad press. So, and they just opened a new museum, which is the largest museum in the world now, in Giza, next to the pyramids. So the Arabs are really milking Right. You know, the African persona that they had nothing to do with. We all know they came in 640. There's a book called The Arab Invasion of Egypt. Everybody knows it.
Right.
And they have nothing to do with ancient Egypt.
Are there any Kemetic artifacts in Jerusalem Museum? And if so, have you ever visited any of them?
Yes, there's African Kemetic. You have to understand where Jerusalem is and all of that during different time periods. That was all under Kemet rule. Kemet had ruled the whole Middle East during the 18th, 19th dynasty. So you'll see artifacts, you'll see shins, you'll see all types of, and they had to pay homage and booty to ancient Egypt. All the way until the 26th dynasty. The 26th dynasty is when the Syrians became powerful enough to take control, and then after the Syrians, then you had the Persians, and the Persians took all that land that Kemet had control. And the Persians controlled all the way into Greek. And then Alexander, son of Philip of Macedonia, conquered the Syrians and the Persians and took all of that. So at that time, now Alexander had the largest empire. But all of that used to be controlled by ancient Egypt. So you're going to find ancient African artifacts in Iran, Iraq, all of that area, all the way to India.
Okay. All right, powerful information. How important is it for Kemet scholars and teachers to also know about the history of Israel and other societies that in that region?
Well, yes, they need to know the ancient as well as the modern. And you realize that the modern is connected to the ancient. And so Kemet scholars need to know that the foundation of almost all those so-called religions today come out of Kemet. When we have the Enoxes, right? All of that happened when they built the Alexandria Library. So when the Greeks came in and took control, they closed most of the temples and brought all that stuff to Alexandria. Then Alexandria became the new capital of knowledge in the world. So the Enoxus was created during that time. But people could still read the Mfundishi at that time. It wasn't outlawed. So you could read the Mfundishi, then later you come into Latin, and that became the new kind of language La Franca, or the modern language of scholarship after that time. But they could read the Greek, the Hebrew, the Latin, the Mfundishi, all was being studied at Alexandria. And so all those, the Hebrew doctrine as we know it, was all being done there before Christianity came in. And there's a book called The 16 Crucified Saviors Before Christ.
By Kersey Grave.
Right. So all of that information was all there. Everybody's imitating Kemet.
Right.
I just need everybody to understand that. You know, so we should have no beef with the Hebrews. We saved them. Persia was going to destroy the sea.
But a lot of them are ignorant, though. They don't know this history.
And the Kemetic,
if it don't come out the Bible, they're not trying to hear nothing.
Right. The Kemetic army came and saved the black Hebrews.
Yep.
Okay, so they were like allies. So they need to understand that. Christianity started in ancient Kemet. The Coptic Christians first. And then later that went into Ethiopia after the Europeans took over Christianity in the Nicene Conference. That's when it became a European religion. Before that, it was an African religion.
Right.
Okay. So don't claim that, we started Christianity. Christianity that people studying now, we didn't start. The Christianity we're studying now was created by the Europeans.
In Ethiopia, right? It came out of Ethiopia.
No, it came out of Kemet.
Oh, Christianity.
Yes.
No, but Ethiopia was before Kemet, though, right?
But the doctrine. All right, let me go back a little bit.
Ethiopia is the mother of Kemet.
Yes, but Christianity wasn't started then.
Okay.
The Ethiopians were studying what Kemet was studying. So let me help you a little bit.
Go ahead, help me out.
When there was no Coptic Christianity before the Ptolemies came to Egypt under Alexander. After Alexander died and the Ptolemies took over, Ptolemy III wanted they weren't getting the respect that the Kemetic priests were getting. They were treated like gods. But they realized that these Greek kings, these pharaohs, and that's when the word pharaoh comes in now. Before that, there's no pharaohs. We were the Nasut Biti. Okay, the Nasut Biti. Pharaoh is a Greek word from the word per-ah, the great house. Okay, so now they weren't getting the respect. And so Ptolemy commissioned the African priests to create a new religion and put him at the top, Serapis. So Serapis became a combination of Asar, Apollo, Haru, all in one with a white man's face. That's the beginning of Coptic Christianity.
Oh, you going in, bro.
Okay, so now, later, and that's why when they had the Nicene Conference, the majority of the priests were still African. But when they created and Rome took it over, that's when it moved into Ethiopia. All right, so now you understand.
Okay.
That's when it moved into Ethiopia. It was moving slightly before that, but that was the nail that that sunk the ship right there.
All right. The Hebrew Israelites teach that they are a bloodline to Israel. And I say no, it can't. You can't be no bloodline going all the way back.
No, because
hold up, going all the way back to Israel.
Right.
So I'm gonna ask you: are you a bloodline that can reach back to Kemet?
Yes.
You saying that you have a bloodline that go all the way back to Kemet? How so?
From Tanzania. Remember I explained that the people from Tanzania, Kenya, all of that, say they come from the Happy Valley, from the Sudan.
Because we know they did migrate. Some people say they migrated into Ghana.
Right. Even today, Amen is one of the most common words in Ghana.
Right. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Right. So all of that, so the language. Okay, so that's connected. So, but let me say this here.
Yeah.
When the Romans closed the temples in Kemet, they also decimated the Hebrews. They destroyed them. $10. They destroyed them. And then they were dispersed. A lot of Romans, this is where white Hebrews came into existence for the first time. The Romans took on the identity of the people they destroyed and became the new Hebrews.
You need help, sis? You need help?
Okay.
Talk to him. I paused it.
Y'all don't have the thing where you will burn frankincense on?
Say that again?
Like the thing you will burn the frankincense on?
Oh, the incense burner?
Yeah.
No, we're out of them right now. So we know them, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So let me put things in a proper spatial perspective here, right? So probably Africans in America are more connected to that bloodline than even these people who are just claiming. When the Romans destroyed Judaism in that whole area, took over, they co-opted the wealth of the Hebrews. And these Romans now, the Africans who were there were dispersed. They went back into the interior of Africa. That's why you have better Israel and Ethiopia. I've been to the village in Ethiopia where these Hebrews, part of the better Israel, the original Hebrews, are in Ethiopia. They moved into West Africa. In fact, if you go to Cameroon, the Igbo, and them claim that they are connected to the real Hebrews, all the way to Cameroon and Nigeria. So in Nigeria, in Hebrew, there's probably more descendants of the Hebrews in Cameroon and Nigeria than any other place there, outside of coming down into Ethiopia. So, but let me just say this here. The whole connection of the 12 tribes of Judah, that's mythology.
Yes, correct.
That's the zodiac. That's not no group of people. Abraham is a fictitious character. It even says in there that it's an allegory. An allegory is I make up a story to prove a point. The point I'm trying to prove is good. So I create a story to drive that point home. think about what. First of all, why would his name be Abraham? Second of all, who was his son that came into Egypt? Joseph. What you doing with a name named Joseph 4,000 years ago?
Right.
Okay, see, ain't nobody even put Joseph, John. Where you get names like that from?
Right, because that didn't exist over there.
It wasn't even no letter J for John. You know, you see, so it's a made-up story, and it tells you it's an allegory.
Right.
And now that's like following Bugs Bunny. and then you say, oh no, I'm related to Elmer Fudd or something like that, on my mother's side. That's ridiculous. So they took the zodiac and tried to put real people there. And now people, I belong to the tribe of this, I belong to the tribe of that. All of that's mythology and make-believe.
Yes.
But whoever controls the situation defines it. So because they control the scenario now they define it.
All right, so it could be debated that ancient Kemet in Israel have great intermingling with each other as far as the Exodus story. Do you believe in the Exodus story?
First of all, the Exodus story is mythology also.
Mythology, go ahead.
It's just a make-believe story. But let me say this here so that everybody will understand. There is no Judaism before Akenaten.
Oh man, say that again.
There is no Judaism or the Hebrew doctrine before Akenaten, who is in the 18th dynasty of ancient Kemet. That's approximately maybe 2500 BCE. So Kemet had been in existence for over 2,000 years before Akenaten. So this shows you the Kemetic doctrine is more than 2,000-3,000 years older than Judaism. But after Akhenaten, so they believe that so-called Moses, who is the lawgiver of the Hebrew nation, that Moses was either Akhenaten or a priest of Akhenaten and left during that time. So that Exodus story is the followers of Akhenaten leaving Kemet. And they ain't part no waters. That's an African story. So the writers took African stories and put it all together into one. So in the 5th dynasty, there's a king in Kemet who had his high priest part the waters to get his wife's her earrings had dropped in the water. So they parted the water so that she could get her jewelry. And they took that story, the locusts, and that's another Kemetic story. So all those stories you see in the Bible are different stories that happen in Kemet that somebody just plagiarized and put it during this timeline, but it happened long before that.
Okay, now I gotta tell you what's going on the internet. There's another group out there, but guess what they teaching them, Fadiji? They are teaching that Asa, Heru, and Aset were actually real people.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
I don't have a comment on that. Let me just say this.
That's dangerous, though,
People
man.
have the right to be crazy.
Right.
You know, so I can't control craziness.
Right.
And all I ask is those people who are following them, do your own research. This is why, again, I'm going back, that I teach them to do nature. Because when you teach them to do nature, now I'm not taking somebody's word for it. I can read it myself. And so when we talk about, because you even have a couple of brothers talking about, they try to connect the ancient Egyptians to the Anunnaki and all of that, you know. So again, they can't prove none of that. All of that is just a hearsay. I try to only talk about stuff that we can prove. Right. We can prove. And the Badu nature is there, and we can read it, it's facts.
Speak to us about ancient culture society in that region. Before
that, let me just say this here though. Some of those names might have been linked to some ancient kings, because at the Temple of Seti, you have from Narmer all the way up to Seti, 19th dynasty. And on the other wall, it has 36,000 years of pre-dynastic Kemet. So there might have been some kings' names who had those particular names, but the Netzeru are not people.
Right, I agree with you.
Okay, so I just want to say that there might have been an ancient Hussar, there might have been an ancient Ptah.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to deny that.
Right, I agree with you on that.
But the
I'm glad you corrected that. Yeah.
Right, but the Netzeru were not people. Okay.
Right, exactly. Could the Palestinians today be the descendants of the Canaanites and the Israelites? The Palestinians, could they be the descendants of the Canaanites?
It's a possibility because remember I said that area was all black first. Those were the African people. We have to understand that we colonized that all the way, that whole Mediterranean area. Before the Romans, you had the Tuscans.
The Tuscans?
Yeah, the Tuscans.
Who are they?
They're an ancient group of Africa who come from Kemet.
Oh, okay.
And they civilized, when the Romans came in, they came in and occupied that land that they were in. So they were the ones that did where Greece is, where Rome is before that. So those ancient people can be connected to them. And then they're connected to ancient Kemet. I want people to understand all that Middle East was a satellite and a colony of ancient Kemet.
Yes.
So where Palestine was, that was a colony and an area controlled by ancient Kemet, all the way to the Assyrians and the Persians.
Speak to us about the relationship between Kemet and the Canaanite.
Okay, they were like brothers.
Oh.
Both of them are connected to ancient Kush.
Oh.
Canaan. Nimrod is the founder of the city of Canaan.
Nimrod?
Right. And Nimrod is the son of Kush.
Wow.
All right, so you got to put the things together. This is why it's there. So both of them are connected to Kemet. So Kush parent was the seed for Kemet, and it was the seed for Canaan. So let me say that one more time. Ancient Kush, which people call Kush, is the seed for the Canaanites, and it's the seed of ancient Kemet. It's the parent of both of them. And if you read my book, Menchu, Hotep, and the Spirit of the Magi, when they were at war with the Hyksos, the Canaanites came to give them aid because this was their distant brothers, their distant cousins.
Wow, that's deep there. So were the Israelites written in extra biblical history actually the Canaanites?
No. Okay, but let me say this here. The folklore says that so-called Abraham comes from the control of where the Canaanites. So he was being controlled by Canaanites. So they can say that they come from that land. Mm-hmm. Right. So that again shows another connection to the ancient Hebrews before they were Hebrews.
Right.
Were controlled by ancient Kemet and the Canaanites. So that was supposed to be Abraham. The reason why he left is because he was under Canaanite rule. And he was, being enslaved and stuff like that. And so he left Canaan. So that's the way their story goes,
Okay, now I asked Jabari this question a couple of days ago. Now I asked Jabari this question and he didn't know. He said it's hard to answer that question. Okay. He didn't know. Let me see where you at with it. Let me see, what is it? Who are the Canaanites today in modern times? Who would these people be today? The Canaanites.
Okay, now you have to understand when the Caucasus, when the Aryans came out of the Caucasus Mountains, they came in and overruled that area. And so you have the Caucasians from the Caucasus Mountains, and the Aryans came in and occupied that. So these people you see here today are the descendants of the Caucasians and the Aryans who came from Europe and that part of Asia, who come out of the mountains. They came down into that area. Originally that area was black, then all of a sudden it became brown, then it became where it is now. So the modern day people are descendants of the Caucasians and the Aryan invasion.
See, that's why you're the master teacher, brother.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why you're the master teacher.
Okay, all right.
All right, man, that's what's up, man. Israel claimed the land base based on the book and religion. Talk to us about that. What is your thoughts and your statement? Because they claim Israel based off of the book, based off of biblical stuff.
No.
Yes.
No. Again, I need to say, they're Johnny-come-latelys.
Right.
So that's why people need to teach with a timeline. So I already said there are no Hebrews before Akenaten. That's 18th dynasty.
The 18th dynasty, right. Right, correct.
So before that, so that's like 1500 BCE. So that land was controlled by, we already say, the Kushites and the Canaanites.
So if that is true, which I believe it is, ain't no such thing as a exodus coming out of Kemet.
No, there's no exodus coming out of Kemet.
Right, because it was no Israel. It was no Israel,
right. And if there was any exodus, it was being Akhenaten's people leaving Kemet after Akenaten died. Okay, let me say that. Because we know that Tutankhamun and Haru Imhab and I, who are the kings after Akhenaten, is I, the high priest I became the king. Then came Haru Imhab, who they call Haramhab. They returned the spiritual system back to Amen. So all those people who followed Akhenaten got the boot. They had it up out of there. But there was no exodus, ain't no Red Sea parted, ain't none of that happened. And they probably just left and went into the land now you might call
But
Israel.
didn't the Kemetic leaders at that time didn't really approve of Akenaten because he was teaching monotheism?
No, he was right. Akhenaten would have been a renegade.
Right.
Okay, so let me say something. The worship of the Aten was already in existence in ancient Kemet from the first dynasty, but it was a small set. Okay, so Aten was just like you have Ptah, just like you have Ra, just like that. It was one of many Necharu, because it represents the rays of the sun. That's all. It's not nobody. Okay, so nobody got, next thing they have a guy running around talking about he's Aten. No, it's the rays of the sun. Now let me say something. Akhenaten said, without the rays of the sun, there's no life.
Right, correct.
Ain't no argument. Without the sun, there's no life on earth. So we give adornment. So what the Kemetic had a problem with was that, so how about higher consciousness, Jhuty? How about Haru? The eye, how about... So Akhenaten said, no, we don't want none of that. We're only doing the Aten. So that's the problem they had. They didn't have a problem with the worship of Aten because it was already there. In fact, Akhenaten's father, Amenhotep III, dedicated a ship to his queen, Hatshepsut, right? And the boat was called the worship of the Aten. And Akhenaten was just a little boy. So it was already there, but it wasn't the only. Akhenaten said, no, there will be no other gods, no other principles but the Aten. That's where the problem was. And by that time, the priestship of Amen was powerful. It rivaled the strength of the king almost. They were so wealthy because Kemet owned so much land and had conquered so many different places. So the priestship had their own farms. The priestship had their own military. So they were a powerful entity. So that's why Akhenaten had to get up out of town and build his own city. So now when he died, Well, he had a son who died a little after that, and then
He died before his wife Nefertiti.
Yes, Nefertiti died. Or wait, Nefertiti is not heard of before the next king. She vanishes,
Oh, okay.
and he actually even marries one of his daughters.
Akhenaten?
Yes,
Married one of his daughters.
right.
Come on now. What
So
are you
that she
talking
becomes
about?
the queen.
So what are you talking about here now?
No,
Is there
but-
incest going on here?
No. This is
So-
to keep the kingship and the royal family
The
intact.
bloodline.
Right, the bloodline. So that the next ruler would all be part of that bloodline. Okay? And Nefertiti vanishes.
Uh-huh.
There's some doctrine that says that she wrote a letter to the Hittites saying, send me your sons and I'll make them the king of Egypt. But the letter was intercepted when it came back. And when they sent the sons, the Kemetic, they killed him on the trip. He never made it. So he came back to Egypt and they killed his son. And then Nefertiti is never heard of again. They can't even find her tomb. Nefertiti's tomb or mummy or body have never been found yet. So we don't know how Nefertiti died. We don't know what happened at the end. So again, but what I want to show here is that after that, they went back to the worship of Amun Ra. And that's why Tutankhamun was born Tutankhaten. I still got a chair at our museum just duplicating his royal chair, and it says Tutankhaten. And then he changed, after his father died, he changed his name back to Tutankhamun, back to the worship of Amun. But before that, there are no Hebrews. There's no Judaism. It only comes after Akhenaten.
Wow, that's good to know.
So now let me say your question about them being the original Israelites there, in Palestine.
Uh-huh.
So they didn't even control that land. That land was still controlled by blacks. And it was under the power of ancient Kemet. They were paying taxes to Kemet.
So let me ask you, if Kemet was so powerful, how come today the Arabs is in so much control of Kemet that you got to get permission from them to even go in there, and they want to try to stop us from claiming Egypt?
Listen, I had an Ankh on my crown, and they wouldn't let me go into the pyramids to see the pyramids. So I had to take the Ankh. I said, where'd the Ankh come from here? They said, but we're Muslims now.
Right. Damn, bro.
And listen, they weren't going to let me in, and I wasn't taking my hat off, right? And then finally, one of the people in my shrine pulled out the video and said, oh, we're going to put this on YouTube. And then they said, okay, all right, you can go in.
Yeah, let you in.
Because they didn't want no bad publicity. Remember, tourism.
Right, that's right.
They don't want no bad
Exactly.
publicity. But they were going to try to stop me from going in because I had an Ankh on my hat.
But how did they gain control and power?
Okay, so now, let me just bring you back.
Yes.
Arabs don't get there to 640 in this common era. They bring in Islam, where they came in under the banner of Islam. Islam closed all the Kemetic, all the rest. The Romans had already closed the temples, but what little bit was left was then controlled by the Arabs. The Arabs now create and convert to Africans. This is where we get the beginning of the Moors. Moors were African Kemetic who were conquered and converted to Islam. Now these Moors spread all across northern Africa and convert the people to Islam. So they convert the blacks, and then the blacks go and convert everybody else, the other blacks. In fact, Mali, Ghana, and Songhai, all of those three great African empires fell because of Moors. I know we want to glorify just the Moors, but they destroyed our traditional African empires.
The Moors did?
Yes.
How
the
so?
Islamic Moors.
How so?
Because they were spreading Islam. Anybody who's not a Muslim is an infidel, and I have the right to kill them. Are you with me?
Yes.
So they spreading Islam all across northern Africa and then down into West Africa. All of those great empires fell. Not from outside invasions, not a group of Arabs, but African Moors who were converted to Islam now did the bidding of the Arabs. Then they went up into Spain in 711
AD.
and conquered that and was there for what, 700 years, all the way to 1492.
Marrying white women and everything.
Yes.
Having
In
sex
fact,
with all of
the
them.
number one slaves was white women by the Moors. So blacks weren't even slaves. The word slave comes from Slav. Comes from the Slavic people. They used to raid through Europe every year, and white men would give their daughters as booty, as the taxes. And that was the slave trade. And so white women were the slave trade, was the number one commodity in the slave trade during that time. Not Africans, not blacks, but white women. So I just want to get people there.
Yeah, so they was also the navigators of the seven seas, where they was the ones showing, I think, Columbus,
right,
where to go and how to track it and how to get there.
Those were more sailors. Maritime law was all created by the Moors. And even the boats, the Santa Maria, the Pinta, the Nina, the Santa Maria, there were Moorish sails and Moorish navigators on Columbus's boats. So I just need you to know, just know that. And Columbus had already been traveling to West Africa before he went. And he heard the Africans say, there's great land across the ocean. Okay, so, so they just making up some stories.
Right.
So what was that question? Did I answer that whole question?
You answered it.
Okay.
Yeah, about the Arabs gaining control over Egypt.
So 640 is when they come. And they, even right now, brother, I have a videotape that I put out. It was done in 1923. In 1923, Egypt was still predominantly black. Only the last 100 years, all of these Arabs and people who come out of Iraq, Iran, the Middle East have migrated into Egypt. Right now, Egypt is probably one of the fastest growing countries in the world. If you look at Egypt now, they turned the desert, all of these apartment buildings as far as you can see, and all of these Arab-speaking people. In Hawass, his people is from Morocco and Turkey. He ain't even talking about us Egyptians. He ain't even a real Egyptian. All those people come from the Middle East. And they've migrated into Africa. Africa's their breadbasket. So today, there's no way Africans could get Egypt back. Every Arab-speaking person in the whole Middle East have migrated there, brother. And they're like 100 million, I don't even know the number, but it's ridiculous. And it's growing every day. Arabs got total control of that. And any black Arabs who spoke up for Africa got Gaddafi. They killed Gaddafi, but that's not who I want. Who was the president that signed the peace treaty with the Jews during the time of Jimmy Carter?
I don't know. I forgot as well.
Sadat. Anwar Sadat was an African, right? And he said he is the first black man to rule Egypt in 2,000 years. And right after he said that, he was assassinated.
Wow.
Right? So the white Arabs got rid of it because being Arab, let me just say this. Arab is not a religion, not a race. Anybody who speaks Arabic as their first language is Arab.
Let me ask you this. This is important.
So they are hybrid people. So they are a mixture between the Aryans and the Africans.
Is Islam an African religion?
Now, I've heard scholars claim it was, but no, it is not.
Right.
It's an Asiatic religion that Africans adopted. And the language is not an African language. It's an Asiatic language.
Did they adopt it under the sword? Because remember, we was in slavery first with the Arabs.
Yeah, in fact, the largest slave trade was with Arabs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the Arab slave trade is from 640 all the way until the European slave trade, and they were both happening at the same time. So while the Europeans was taking West Africa, Arab enslavement was still happening in East Africa, like in Zanzibar, where Tanzania, the Spice Trail. The whole Spice Trail was Arab enslavement. And let me say this, during the Arab Holocaust, 8 out of every 10 Africans were killed. During the European, it might have been 4 out of every 10, or 5 out of 10. So the Arab enslavement of Africans was more brutal than the European enslavement of Africans.
Yeah, because they was chopping off heads and putting them on
And the ones
sticks.
who weren't killed got castrated. The whole concept of a eunuch came from Arab enslaving black men and then cutting your penis off so that you can't make love to their women.
Right. That's where the white man get that from.
Right.
Yep.
So that came from the Arabs. Okay.
Wow, that's deep there, brother. That's powerful, man. Yeah. Why, let me see.
During this time, I just want to make this statement. People who study the ancient Kemetic spiritual system, it's not anti-Christianity. We just believe that Christianity is a religion to control African people.
Right.
We're not anti-Islam.
None of that.
We believe that Islam is a religion to control African people. We're not anti-Hinduism, Buddhism, or any of those isms, because all of them come out of the doctrine of ancient Kush and Kemet. And so we, if anything, we're brothers and sisters.
If Kemet was black in that region, is it far-fetched to say that Israel and even Palestine people and the Hebrew Israelites were also black?
Yes. The original Palestinians, the original Hebrews, the original, all in that area were black people who would be considered Africans today.
Yeah, I always ask the Hebrews, if you are not African, what were you doing in Africa for them to catch you?
It's semantics.
And they never get answered the question.
No. It's semantics. They don't want you to use the word black.
Right.
and
Africa. They don't want you to say,
because at that time it wasn't called Africa.
Right.
So
what was it called?
Akenaten, right. You know, and there's some other names, but we name territories as opposed to the whole continent.
Right.
So that's semantics. But if we want to say, are they connected genetically to the people we call Africans? Yes.
Let me ask you this question. This is important. How long have we been here in America? African American.
The oldest inhabitants of America are Africans, going back more than 20,000 years ago.
No, but I'm saying, how long have we been here in America? Meaning the ones who came over here on the slave ships.
Oh. Well, right now, New York is going to be celebrating next year is the 400th year anniversary of Africans in New York.
So here's my question. Think about this question. Have we become our own people now? And what I mean by that is, we are definitely different from the Africans. We are not the same people no more. It's just like when you looking at dogs that's breeding, you mix a pit bull with something else, they no longer becomes a pit bull. You see what I'm talking about? So when you look at us and our complexion and our movement, we don't look like the Africans no more. We have been stripped of our names, our religion, our culture, our God, and everything. So now we have lost the mother tongue. Is it fair to say that we have become our own people now? You know?
And I will say no.
Okay, explain, bro.
Okay, because if you look at the DNA from Africans in America is the same DNA as the Africans on the continent. But I will say this, that psychologically we become a different people. Only because ancestral trauma is passed on generation to generation. Are you hearing me?
Yes, go ahead.
Ancestral trauma is passed on from generation to generation. So the experience that Africans had during the Holocaust of here and the enslavement we encountered here is in our DNA, and it's not in the DNA of Africans on the continent. Okay? So we're the same people, but with a slight different consciousness because of ancestral karma. Okay. So that kind of like leading what you're saying. But technically, we're still the same people, but we've developed with a different experience because of trauma. And let me say this here. The trauma makes you even stronger. You know why? Because when I look at Africans in America in their right mind, you are the best of the best of the best. They didn't take slaves from Africa. They took priests. They took farmers. They took carpenters. They took priests. They took healers. Right? And now only the strong could survive that trip. And then the survivors of that here, after they were beaten and enslaved, only the strong survived. So we're the descendants of the strongest of the Africans.
I agree.
So that's why when you look at like the sprints and you look at nobody competes like the Africans from America or the Caribbeans, because like the Jamaicans get the same experience kind of like we got. They got the trauma of enslavement there and the trauma of enslavement here. So if you look at the sprinters, they're either African from America or Africans from Jamaica or the Caribbeans, right? Now Africans from the continent, or because they're getting better training, are beginning to compete. Long distance, nobody competes with the Africans from the continent. Because again, their DNA is linked to the hunters and gatherers who used to have to run the savannas for miles. When the Twa shoots a deer with a poison arrow, that doesn't kill the deer. The deer jets off and starts running, and then the Twa runs behind him. So the deer might run 2 or 3 miles. He runs them down, and when the deer falls, now he makes the kill. So that is still in their DNA. So that's why you see the Kenyans, the Ethiopians, the Tanzanians, nobody can compete with them in distance. The sprints, almost nobody can compete with us because of our experience, our DNA. But technically, we're all the same people with a slight different experience.
Okay. When I look at the Hebrews teach all the time on the corner, they always talk about their laws. We got a law against homosexuality. We got a law against pedophilia.
There is none of those laws before the 42 laws of Maat.
There you go. How come we never talk about the laws of Kemet? Because I always tell them.
Our laws come before the Hammurabi codes and become all of the Hebrew stuff.
Give me some examples of the laws of Kemet.
Oh, brother, this 42.
There's 42.
First of all, thou shalt not take a life without a just cause. I wish I had my book, Spiritual Warriors of Healers. I just run them all for you. But they're all, and what I did in my book, Spiritual Warriors of Healers, I do the Kemetic translation. For example, there is no law saying thou shalt not kill. It's thou shalt not take a life without a just cause. Because if you don't kill nothing, you can't eat nothing. So I have to have a just cause behind it. Right. You know, thou shalt not commit a sodomy. Thou shalt not violate another man's wife. That, you know.
See, so when you look at the laws of Hebrew, all of that come right up out of Kemet.
Yes.
And that's what I be trying to tell them.
Remember, there is no Hebrew before Akenaten.
Right, exactly.
All that stuff comes out of Kemet. You know. So I just need to just make that clear. So all those laws come out of Kemet, and that goes all the way to China.
Okay.
Everybody's getting their laws from the Kemetic, which is coming from ancient Kush. Dr. Ben used to teach us there was 147 laws. And the ancient, and then was 67, and then Kemet took 42.
And then the laws of Maat, the 7. This the 7. That's like the 7 commandments right there. Truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, balance, harmony, and order. That right there just sets the tone. Right there, them 7 principles. You know? Right. So in closing, my brother Mfundishi, what is your last words in closing? Let the people know where you be at, where you teach at, what you got coming up.
So I want people to be on the lookout. Starting next month, I'm going to have a podcast, Mfundishi Jhutyms, Kemet spirituality and consciousness.
Man, that's bad. You got to invite me to your show, brother.
Yes. So that's coming out next month, and actually August this month, the end of this month. That's coming out.
Yeah.
So all my classes start in October.
Brother.
Yes,
About
sir.
time, man.
Yes. So that podcast is going to be powerful. I've already got the first 3 episodes already done.
Ready.
So people, it slams religion. Period. And it talks about how to take control of our minds. Culture is your medicine. So you show me a people who's out of their culture, I'll show you people that's sick, destined, and backwards. So you got to get back into your culture. Culture is your food, your clothing, your language, how you connect to nature, your medicine, all of that. So I'll be going on, those 5 domains I talk about. The spirit domain, the mineral domain, the plant domain, the animal domain, and then the human domain. So I'll be breaking all of that down. So religion is to bind, to control, to keep you in a cage. Now, Dick Gregory made a statement. He says, if your enslaver gave you bad food, gave you hand-me-down used clothes, gave you bad medicine, gave you bad everything, why would he give you a good religion?
Exactly. Exactly.
So let's just, so if the Arabs did the exact same thing, enslaved you, gave you bad food, why would they give you a good religion?
I even go further than that. Why would they give you a God if they went through all this trouble to strip you of a knowledge, right? Why would they give you a God to empower yourself?
To worship them.
Exactly.
Yeah, they gave you a God so that you could worship them.
Right.
Because their God is always in their image.
There you go. So that's it, brother, in closing?
Yeah, so again, my classes start in October. Go to mfundishijhutyms.com. We'll start listening in August. Towards the middle of the month, we'll re-update. So the new schedule isn't put up yet. But towards the end of the month, when my podcast starts, the class schedule of sa.neter, Christology, Herbology, Ancient Kemet, the sa.neter, and my books, all will be there.
What is your next tour to the museum? You got to catch up with him and go to that museum. Tour. When is your next tour?
The end of August.
Okay.
When I start my podcast.
I ain't never go with you. I got to go with you one day.
You need to go with me.
Yeah, man.
The end of August, I'll be taking a group to the Metropolitan. That's the largest
the best one
here.
Yep.
So, but people can buy appointment. We have the Culture Museum on 126th Street in Amsterdam. It's Kemet and
I've been there before.
Africa.
It's beautiful. I know.
So people can come, but it's by appointment only right now.
Right.
So it's by appointment. So they can come to, if you come from out of town, come and see me here, and then I can take you on a tour to our museum here.
Right. Beautiful, brother.
So I want to say Uncle Johnson Neb to everybody. Again, mfundishijhutyms.com, my Facebook, mfundishijhutyms, my Instagram, mfundishijhutyms, my website, mfundishijhutyms.
Thank you, brother.
Real quick, y'all. Yeah, you're right, Imperial. Yeah, you're right. I know the questions. I know the answers to the questions that I be. Of course, I know the questions. I know the answers to the question I be asking them. But sometimes I just ask them just for the people that's watching, because sometimes they be like, "What do you mean by Uncle Jobson?" So I'll be saying, well, what does that mean, brother? So when y'all hear me asking it, I don't know what it means. I'm asking him so he can explain it to the people. You know what I'm saying? And let me show you what I got coming for y'all later on this evening. I got the debate ready. It's really not a debate, but oh man, this brother, I love this pastor right here. Let me show you. I got this coming tonight. All
right, peace and blessings, everybody. I want everybody to know we are here in the house, in the office of our brother Shabazz, minister of the Harlem Church of Christ. Peace and blessings,
Yes.
brother. How you doing? All right, peace and blessings, everybody. I want everybody to...
First, let me let y'all know this was yesterday. I went to his church. He invited me to his church. It's right across the street from Mosque number 7, where Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad was on the pulpit with Minister Farrakhan. This brother right here, I love this brother. He's different from all the other ministers. And I could see that right out when I went to see him. He is straightforward. He got that passion. I was telling Jabari, be careful, Jabari. This dude is not no joke. His father came up in the Nation of Islam when Malcolm was there. And him as a little kid, you know, he's under his father. So he's following his father. So, of course, he's in the Nation of Islam. That's why you see when he made his transition to Christianity, he still carries some of those traits with him. He wears the bow tie. He loves the bow tie. He said it's a sharper look. He loved that bow tie. And the brother is charismatic. He knows his history, and he gets it in. He gets it in, man, for real. He don't believe in the truth of the Bible. So I know when Captain see that, Captain gonna be like, yo, stop. You got to hook me up with him. But I'm going to tell you right now, Captain, if you're listening, I don't think you're any match for him. And I say that because this man knows the origin, the history. He knows the history of all of it. He's bad. He is nice. I'm telling you, he is nice. And when I asked him a question later on, y'all going to see about the Israelites. Oh, my God. He went in on Israel. He went in on the Israelites. So, Captain, you sure you want this smoke? He went in, brother. Now, see, this is a different animal right here. This brother here, you've been debating them pastors and all that, them European Christian pastors, Captain. This, and you know you're my captain. But this brother here, Cap, is no joke. And he talked about how he went in front of your camp one time. So he don't know if it was you because he don't know your name. But he went in front of your camp one time on the 125th, and he said he went in. And the rest is history. So we're going to show y'all some of this right here, and we're going to get it in this evening with him and Brother Jabari.
You know we are here in the house, in the office.
One more thing. When y'all take a look at this, Sakina Ra, when you look at this discussion, Sakina Ra, you're going to see this is the way a discussion's supposed to be. You're not going to hear no slander between these two. You're going to hear professionalism. You're going to hear respect amongst two men in disagreement, in laughter, you know, and having fun. And that's what I always wanted these debates to be. But you get in front of a group of Negroes and they get all bent up out of shape because somebody disagree with them. But you're going to see professionalism in Jabari because he is, this brother here is a minister. And then you got Brother Jabari, who's a high priest. So you ain't going to see nothing but respectful dialogue. And this was awesome. I love this discussion here.
Our brother Shabazz, minister of the Harlem Church of Christ. Peace and blessings, brother. How you doing?
Blessed, and I am honored to have you all in our space. I know that we have attempted for some time now to get this gathering, and I thank God that it has come to fruition. Mm-hmm. We welcome both of you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would like to first start off by asking you, how did you grow up in Harlem? How did you grow up in Islam and ended up in Christianity?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you my story and try to capsule it. I'm actually a native of Detroit, Michigan, born and reared right outside of the Motor City. And my father took himself and our family on a journey. I say a journey because, and we called our father Baba. We called him Baba, which is means father. Baba was really keenly aware of African history. As a child, we owned a family business, Ahmed's African Imports. And throughout the entirety of my childhood, my father imported clothing, dashikis, bubas, filas, African art, incense, all kinds of things as a child. He then kind of matriculated his way into not only an awareness of Black culture and Black history, but then he became a member of the Nation of Islam. And Baba remained with the Nation of Islam until about the time that Malcolm X made his holy pilgrimage to Mecca, Medina. And when Malcolm came back from Mecca, Medina, of course, he changed his whole philosophy, if you will.
All right, let me speed it up a little bit. I'm gonna show y'all a full video. Don't worry about it. I'm just skipping and seeing what's up. I got to go back and see this brother. I got to go back and see him.
Definitely take that to task.
Yeah.
And I believe that there is a consensus out there, but I do not believe that consensus represents the credible scholastic view of Pauline literature. I don't believe that. And if I find out it does, I'm gonna take it back.
Okay.
If I find
I hear
you know what I'm saying?
But the general, you understand the general point of why I'm saying that, right?
Okay,
because
I got it.
When
he gives a synopsis and an overview of a number from what we know of wedding.
It'll come back to you.
Through which to bring Jesus Christ, and the Jews refused to give it up. So what happened? God comes along in AD 70 and destroys the Temple of Jerusalem. His final blow against the Jewish economy. And I contend today, regardless of what branch of Hebrew you are, and I say that with all disrespect,
He say that with all disrespect. He tired of the Israelites. He tired of y'all in the street going crazy on our people. He say that with all disrespect, Captain. Oh man, he going in.
So Luke, in Luke chapter 1, gives the genealogy of his mama Mary that covers his bloodline. Matthew, my point is this. The only reason why the Jews were God's chosen people was God needed a physical lineage and bloodline through which to bring Jesus Christ. And the Jews refused to give it up. So what happened? God comes along in AD 70 and destroys the Temple of Jerusalem. His final blow against the Jewish economy. And I contend today, regardless of what branch of Hebrew you are, and I say that with all disrespect, you are a people forever and a nation never. You will never be the nation of Israel ever again. So God turned and went into the way of the Gentile. And now has opened salvation to those that will obey him. And that's what a believer is. Not somebody that engages in the act of mental assent, but someone who is willing to be complicit and obedient.
Now, you know when I put this up,
put it up.
I want to talk to you.
Put it up. Put it up. Put it up.
I want to talk to you.
Listen, brother, put it up. You know I'm an intelligent enough man to know not to sit here in front of this camera.
But they not ready for you though. Nah.
Well, they might be. They might be.
I'm going to tell you, listen, I deal with them.
Can I tell you something? What's his name? Razak?
Captain Cesaria.
Ain't a thing I can do to help him. I might can help his people.
Right.
I've never entered into an intelligent discussion with an intelligent man with the intention of winning him. It's not going to happen.
That's true.
By the way, I say that every single time when people say, why are you still on sa.neter arguing with the same people? I go, because you don't see the emails. And
hey, do we look like when he took the glasses off? I don't know. Let me bring that back. Do we look like Richard Pryor a little bit? I don't know. Think about that. Do we look like Richard Pryor right here? Come on, y'all. Do we look like Richard Pryor right here, man? I just seen it just now as I'm looking at it. I just seen it.
Right. I've never entered into an intelligent discussion with an intelligent man with the intention of winning him. It's not going to happen.
That's true.
By the way, I say that every single time when people say, why are you still on sa.neter arguing with the same people? I go, because you don't see the email.
All right, so I don't want to give y'all too much. I don't want to give y'all everything. But I'm going to get to y'all tonight. Y'all. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. This is a good, powerful discussion. It's over an hour and change. And so, peace and blessings. Hope y'all enjoy it. I'll see y'all later on this evening.